This is the OTB Television Network, a service of Capital District Off-Track Betting.
Broadcasting live from the Capital OTB studios, this is Racing Across America with Seth Merrow.
Morning, welcome to Racing Across America, live from Woodbine. Happy to be here. Also happy to have Woodbine as a sponsor. Woodbine, pick, bet, and also our friends at the Leah Auto Group, Leah Cars for Life. Really appreciate their sponsorship. This program, some of the other programming and events. We appreciate the hospitality of Woodbine. We're here on their set for the handicapper support a little earlier, Racing Across America now. Also want to remind you, it's Woodbine Day at the Clubhouse Racebook. Swing on down and take advantage of the promotions down there. And there's a 2% bonus on your Woodbine wagers. You can check out the restrictions on the website, capitalotb.com. All right, let's jump right into our Queen's Plate version of Racing Across America, or Racing Across North America. It's parenthetical on this weekend when we are live from Woodbine and the Queen's Plate. I thought when we saw Brian W. Spencer up in the press box, a nice wagering guide from horseplayernow.com. We have Brian on to talk a little Queen's Plate and beyond. Good morning.
Good morning. It's my second visit up here to Woodbine, and obviously a great card.
Yeah.
Looks like good weather outside. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, as we were all kind of down in the hotel bar last night, and we went up, Brian and I went up to the hotel room, opened up the curtain, and it was pouring out, but it's gorgeous now.
Yeah.
So it looks like it's going to be a great day. The new turf course got off to a nice debut yesterday, so looking forward to that throughout the season. They plan to have 6 or 7 turf races a day, and everybody loves turf.
I heard on the prior show, I heard Brian talking about how he was looking for a little bit of speed. I thought that was kind of my idea too, but in both races they've run, the trial race and the first race yesterday, total off-the-pace runs. So keep an eye on that in the turf course.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. As I said, it'll add to the handicapping puzzle, and it'll be fun to watch and kind of suss that out over the beginning of the meet. All right, let's jump right in. We're going to take a look at some of the races today. And again, if you want to swing by horseplayernow.com, there's a great Queen's Plate wagering guide. Brian looked at all the races, did a horse-by-horse analysis of the Queen's Plate. We'll get some ideas from Brian this morning. We'll kick things off with the Queen's Plate. As you heard on the handicapping show earlier, I had a 10, 11, 5, and 14. I really like Skywire. I put that one on top. But looking at the wagering guide and just talking, our friend Mike Callahan from Capital OTB was talking about this horse. I know you're tilting in this direction, so I thought we would pull up the replay of the Woodbine Oaks Desert Ride. The filly will win that one, so you get to take a look at her prior race. And people certainly shouldn't be scared of fillies. A couple of years back, Holy Helena. Last year, Wonder Gadot. So the fillies have a good record in this race. Your thoughts on the Queen's Plate?
Yeah, fillies have won 3 of the last 5 Queen's Plates, which is remarkable. And I think for me, the biggest issue here is whether there will be enough pace. You know, you and Brian discussed that the California Invader probably loose on the front end. I think that's true. I just think at this point, I'm not sold that the majority of these want to go 10. So basically, I was looking for horses who were either going to get that first over trip into the stretch, or just the horses who I know will be finishing at 10 furlongs. And Desert Ride, she flashed a little bit of talent down in New Orleans and Kentucky, but wow, that first trip over the Topeka up here, really remarkable finishing effort. She's bred to get 10. I know she's going to be running late, and for me, that's good enough at something in the 6 to 8 to 1 range.
All right, underneath?
Basically, then I'm with you and Brian with sort of the 4 obvious horses. I thought that the 10 Skywire was going to be pretty tough. As I mentioned, he's going to get that first jump trip into the stretch. I think that's important, mostly against Avies Flatter on top. I don't know that he's really that much faster than these or that much better. Obviously, he's got an open company class edge, but other than that, I think One Bad Boy and Not Sold, he's going to get 10. So I'm going to lean pretty heavily on Desert Ride on the rail, but I think those sort of obvious horses are the ones that I'm going to be be backing up.
And we were
as well.
kind of going back and forth on who we thought would be favored. Brian thought one bad boy. I think Skywire morning line favorite is AV Flatter. Your thoughts as far as favoritism?
It's going to be one of those three. I think in the end that AV's Flatter is going to wind up as your slight favorite, just because of the open company form. I think people are going to reach for that.
All right. That, as I said, that's going to be an interesting little sidelight to keep aware of as they get closer and closer to post time. All right, a couple other races on the card we'll have you take a look at. And again, you can find Brian's selections for the whole card, horseplayernow.com. The 8th race today, the Dance Smartly, 1.25 miles. I put Starship Jubilee on top. I took the European Invader, Rock My Love in the second spot, and Holy Helena. Get Explicit, interesting to me down in the bottom portion. And off of the return to Woodbine last time, I think there might be a little bit of upside for that one at 10-1 on the morning line. That's one I may play around with to look for some value. Your thoughts on the Dance Smartly?
Well, I'm not going to offer much new information based on what you just said. Basically, this race not going to give you a big number here in Starship Jubilee, but I think this is a potential separator race in those pick 4s, pick 5s. People are going to be reaching for 1, 2, maybe even 3 deep in here. Starship Jubilee for me is a single. They're loose on the front end if they want it. She can also rate and finish. The distance is a little bit of a question, but I think the race flow very much works in her favor. I actually like Get Explicit probably more than Holy Helena. Holy Helena is probably third choice for me. I think Get Explicit has some ability to get back to one of those better runs from last year. One of those fits here, but Starship Jubilee going to be a single for me, and I'll try to get Explicit in underneath.
Yeah, very good. All right, and there is again, there are multiple pick 5s, and one of them is going to kick off in race number 9 today, and that means those get-out races after the Queen's Plate will offer some pick 5 opportunity plays. And so you're going to take a look at the 12th, which is a calendar condition allowance race. They're going to go a mile on that new inner turf course. I put the 9 on top there, Viewfinder, Eureka da Silva, off a nice seasonal effort that I think the horse could build off of. Your thoughts on the 12th?
You know, I was sitting on Viewfinder almost the whole time, but then I got to the point, I know it was his first start off the layoff, but man, getting a 45-3 and a 109-1, he's supposed to win that from off the pace. That was a little concern for me. Probably
He just may have been too far back, though.
Yeah, probably steps forward in this race. You're very much right about that, but I think the 6 Deep Freeze might be the right one. Second off the layoff, up in class. Marty Drexler, 26% with this type. He fits at the level. He's got good speed. I think Deep Freeze might be the right one. Maybe not at 8-1, though.
Very good. And again, we will tout Swing by horseplayernow.com. We talked to your colleague at Horseplayer, the head honcho at Horseplayer, Jeremy, throughout the Triple Crown season as far as the 3-year-olds on our side of the border, but today it's the 3-year-olds up here in Canada. Again, you put the nice wagering guide together, horseplayernow.com, print it up. And again, there's a full look at the field and the Queen's Plate. You did a great job there. You and Jeremy always do a great job.
Appreciate that.
Over at horseplayernow.com. But appreciate the visit this morning. Good luck this afternoon.
Hey, you got me out of bed early. I appreciate being here.
Yeah, we were talking last night. It was going to be a rough morning, but
it's been fun.
We all made it. We all made it on time. All right, we're going to head to one of our tape pieces. Again, we were bouncing around the backstretch yesterday and talking to some of the major players. A horse we have mentioned already a few times this morning, Avies Flatter. He's a macho man who Brian mentioned is a potential interesting horse, both trained by Josie Carroll. She also has Mr. Ritz, who Brian liked in the King Edward. So up next, trainer Josie Carroll. Let's talk a little Queen's Plate. Avies Flatter won the Cup and Saucer, the Coronation Futurity last year.
Out wide, Avies Flatter coming fast. Avies Flatter right down the outside, swamps them in a blink of an eye. Into second, Federal Law, and what a move by Avies Flatter. Avies Flatter in the Coronation Futurity in front. Federal Law a game second, but Avies Flatter goes on to win. Avies Flatter 3 parts to Federal Law.
Most recently, a couple of turf starts down at Keeneland. Now comes in with a little bullet work on June 16th, undefeated on the Woodbine main track. Avies Flatter, what do you think on Saturday in the Queen's Plate?
Really, really talented horse. I think if he gets a good trip, he should be right there.
Talk a little bit about the 1.25 miles. That any concern?
You know, this horse has gone 1 1/8 and handled that very easily, so I would expect he would go on. He comes from, you know, a pedigree of distance with a second dam that won the E.P. Taylor, so one would hope that he can carry on.
And as I say, the last 2 races were in Kentucky on the turf, but is undefeated on this main track, so will he appreciate the return home?
He's worked brilliantly on this track since he's come back.
All right, let's also talk a little bit about, he's a macho man. A couple of wins in 3 starts, so lightly raced, but his last was his best yet, the optional claiming win. What was your...
And then Jam and Still inventing blame, testing this leader, All-American Hero. Jam and Still trying to get the run, and down the center he's a Macho Man. Three of them, all of them a chance, but it's All-American Hero in front. All-American Hero joined by He's a Macho Man, and Jam and Still late. He's a Macho Man. Luis Contreras goes on to win. Jam and Still something beaten there.
Takeaway from that one, and how's He's a Macho Man coming into the Queen's Plate?
This is a horse that has suddenly blossomed. He ran extremely well in the fall when he made his debut. Went to Florida, unfortunately hit the starting gate on his way out, lost a month of training from that episode. Then he came back here and he just seemed to blossom and improve, and has actually really surprised me in his forward trajectory.
And as I say, lately raced, so you must have some confidence.
I do. I think this horse is very easy on himself. He's going to be just galloping along with the field, and then he does come running.
All right, and let's also talk about the King Edward. Mr. Ritz is interesting to me. 3 wins, couple seconds in a third, and 7 starts. The seasonal debut was a near miss to Super Tappet in the Eclipse.
Mr. Ritz in front, taken on though, Super Tappet coming now. Avies Mace's finishing well down the outside. Super Tappet's hit the front with Mr. Ritz fighting on. And there in front, Mr. Ritz trying to come back. Mr. Ritz and Super Tappet. Mr. Ritz and Super Tappet neck and neck. Super Tappet, Mr. Ritz, they hit the wire. A head bob between the two. Super Tappet or Mr. Ritz, a head bob decides it back in third.
Is he going to benefit from that start?
Oh yeah, he never gave it up in that race, and after the wire his head was back in front. He really battled and has had enough time to freshen and recover from it.
And as I say, he's a fun horse for me because turf or synthetic, he can race on either. So lots of options beyond this weekend as well, I would think.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we're going to plot out hopefully a really good campaign for this horse this year.
Good luck this weekend.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's going to be fun to see as they go into the gate. But appreciate Josie Carroll taking time. A couple entrants in the Queen's Plate. Mr. Ritz, again, interesting in the King Edward as well. Also, caught up, always accommodating. Mark Casse, grabbed him on the backstretch yesterday. He's got a couple in the Queen's Plate as well. Skywire, who I like. Federal Law, who could be a little bit interesting. In the Charlie Barley, he has Mo Speed. In today's Highlander, he has Super Smart. We talked about all of those and more, which we'll have more actually tomorrow with Mark Casse, because we got updates also on War of Will and Sir Winston. That'll come tomorrow. But right now, Mark Casse talking about his stakes horses today here at Woodbine. Let's hit on the Queen's Plate runners first. I have to admit I'm high on Skywire. Comes out of a couple of races, won the Wando over Global Access. That one kind of bested Skywire last time in the Marine. What was your takeaway from the Marine?
I'm high on him also. I thought his Marine race was good. There wasn't a lot of pace, and Global Access is a good horse.
Skywire goes 4 wide down the outside and is charging after all of them. Global Access got the jump, got away by a length and a half. It's Skywire the immediate challenger, and Global Access trying to hang on. Skywire ducking about, Global Access holding, and Global Access in the Marine Stakes, a nice win by a length to Skywire.
So there was no disgrace in getting beat by him. I think the 1.25 miles is going to be right up this horse's alley, so I'm high on him as well.
I like to hear when you said the 1.25 miles, because I had you on TV when we were in the studio, and you said Sir Winston's going to get the 1.5 miles in the Belmont, so I tossed him in because of that. So when you're high on the distance, I like that. Let's move on to Federal Law. Won the May 19th Queenston, second in the Queen's Plate trial.
Down the lane they come in the plate trial. Federal Law in front. On the outside, Pay for Peace ranging up. Moon Swings making ground. Kraken Wagon finishing on. And Rising Star from a long way back. But Pay for Peace has hit the front. And it is going to be Pay for Peace coming clear. Rising Star a good run here, but Pay for Peace has won. Pay for Peace wins the plate trial. Federal Law second.
What are your thoughts on Federal Law?
He's kind of a box of chocolates. You never really know what you're going to get with him. He's shown sometimes where he looks like he could be a really good horse, and then there's other times he's been disappointing. We had an inside post last time, and I asked Gary Boulanger to go ahead and put him into the race, and he was on the lead and off of pretty easy fractions. I was a little disappointed to see him get beat. Now Jamie's coming in, Spencer, to ride him, so that's exciting. But we're gonna keep him off the pace a little bit and see if we can't get him to go 1.25 miles. I'm not as sure about that one as I am with Skywire, but they're both training well. I was extremely happy with the way they trained this morning, so we'll see.
You mentioned it. How'd you wind up with Jamie Spencer on board?
That was Qatar Racing, the team. They've had great success with Jamie, and I think if you can get him, it's not a bad thing. And I think it's great. It's great for the Queen's Plate. It's great for Woodbine, and I'm happy to have him.
Let's go to some other runners this weekend. Charlie Barley, Mo Speed, off since the saddle slipped and they did not finish Lecomte race. How's he been training since, and what are you looking for in the Charlie Barley from Mo Speed? He's
been training pretty good. We also gilded him after that. He was a bad boy prior in the post parade, and then he was bad in the gate, and that's why the saddle slipped. He's kind of so far been an underachiever. Hard to get a good gauge on him. Not an easy spot, but I think he'll run okay. And as I said, it's been off since the January start. So how's he been training in the interim and prep for, it's a relatively long layoff? Yeah, he's been training good enough. He's not going to get beat because he's tired. He's not the most ambitious of sort, and hence the gilding. Have I seen huge improvements? I can't really say that I have. But I see a lot of times, especially with the Uncle Mo's, they run better than they train, and that's what I'm hoping for.
Let's move on to Super Smart and the Highlander. The seasonal debut was a second with a lifetime best buyer, has a bullet work going back to the 21st of this month. Perhaps Super Smart, an improved 4-year-old.
Field now down the lane, and it's a neck and neck battle on the outside. Super Smart and Spite Swiftly joining is Hollywood Hideaway out in front. Super Smart, Hollywood Hideaway pouncing on the outside. Gigantic Breeze late. Hollywood Hideaway driving. Hollywood Hideaway on the outside has got it won. Hollywood Hideaway 3/4 Super Smart.
Oh, definitely. He's definitely a better 4-year-old. Is he going to be a better 4-year-old on the turf? I'm not sure. I just thought it is an extremely tough race, but he's doing well, and I thought, well, why not take a shot? You'll see me do that. If a horse is training well, I'll take a shot, and he's training well, so I think he'll run good.
Thanks again to Mark Casse. An interesting factoid I had tweeted out right after the Belmont. Mark Casse, having won the Triple Crown races here in Canada last year with Wonder Gadot and Nipawa, and then the 2 Triple Crown races in the United States this year. He has won 5 of the last 6 North American Triple Crown races with 4 different horses. So Mark Casse with a couple in this afternoon's Queen's Plate, trying to keep that number expanding. We'll see how it plays out this afternoon in the Queen's Plate. All right, we'll take a break. When we come back, Roger Attfield will be in the mix, Rachel Halden, Sandy Hawley. We caught up with him a little bit today, and a little more of an expanded interview tomorrow with Sandy as well. Stuart Simon with some nice horses in the stakes this afternoon. All of that right after this break. Stay tuned.
Here in upstate New York, no one provides bettors with more wagering options than Capital OTB. Our network of branch and easy bet locations stretches from the mid-Hudson Valley all the way to the Canadian border and west to central New York. So whether you need to place a bet, fund your Capital Bets account, or watch the next big race, all the action is just around the corner. A full list of our branch and easy bet locations can be found online at capitalotb.com. Capital OTB, the better and most convenient choice for wagering in upstate New York.
In a recent study of some of the top online wagering sites, Capital OTB won big in total player rewards, far surpassing some of the best-known wagering sites in America. While other rewards programs simply offer you points redeemable for gift cards, Capital OTB's rebates are paid to you in actual cash. Plus, Capital OTB gives you full and immediate access to your money. So if all you're getting now are points and gift cards, join Capital OTB Player Rewards today and get cash back. Visit CapitalOTBBet.com and sign up today. No matter where in the world you are, the excitement of wagering on horse racing is just a click away. You'll get live streaming, past performances, race replays, our virtual tote board, analysis and selections from professional handicappers, a simple, safe, and secure wagering platform, and best of all, you get track prices. CapitalOTBBet.com. Bet any place, anytime at CapitalOTBBet.com. And be sure to download our new mobile app from the iTunes Store or Google Play.
Welcome back to Racing Across North America, as it were, live from Woodbine. Again, thanks to the folks at Woodbine for their hospitality. We're here on their paddock set and enjoying our time here this morning with Racing Across America. We'll jump back in because we enjoyed our time yesterday morning on the backstretch, catching up with some of the trainers. One that we catch almost every time we come up here to Woodbine, Roger Attfield, a very familiar name if you watch and wager on the Woodbine product. And Roger Attfield has a few in stakes today, Art of Almost and Carta Bianca in the Dance Smartly, and an Inventing Blame in the Charlie Barley. Talked about all of those with Roger Attfield up next. Let's talk about some of the horses you have coming up this weekend, see how the training works out for them. You got a couple in the Dance Smartly coming up. Art of Almost, let's hit on that one first. Won the last two.
Meantime, Art of Almost only a length Alice's War, and Rinkatabik trying to catch up. Lost Ground is doing all right. They're coming on, but down the lane, and Art of Almost bounded out two in front. Alice's War in second, and Rinkatabik, but they're chasing for second and third, as Art of Almost has come away with a big win and is coasting to the wire. Art of Almost and Alan Garcia by 4 lengths. Alice's War make it 3 3/4.
Who broke the maiden, won an allowance, now tries Stakes Company in the Dance Smartly. Your thoughts on Art of Almost?
Yeah, I'm taking a shot here. She's 3. I think that the distance is really going to be good for her. And she's been doing very, very well. She gets a terrific weight advantage going into this race. You know, there's 2 better fillies, they're real nice fillies. You know, they got to give her 11 pounds, and maybe, you know, they probably can do that. But you know, I think if I've got any chance, you know, if I could get this filly placed in this race in a grade 2, it would make her value much, much higher. So I'm looking at the owners there for this filly because she's got a good pedigree. But I'm taking a bit of a chance, and in fact I called the owners and said, do you think I'm crazy? Because, you know, I'll pull her out. And they said, well, we're driving up right now from Kentucky. So I said, well, I guess you'll be up here to kick the hell out of me if I'm wrong, right? But anyway, we're going to give her a shot.
Also in the race, Carta Bianca, 5th on the main track last time. But it's a European horse, gets back on the grass in the Dance Smartly on Saturday. Your thoughts on Carta Bianca?
Yes, I'm not sure that the distance might be too far for her, because I had originally planned to go in this race with Icky Mashu, and she got hurt in her last race in Maryland when she won on Preakness Day, and she's been retired. So I said, well, let's give this filly a chance and just see if she can do the 1.25 miles, and it'll make a lot of difference to what we do with her for the rest of the year. But she's quite a nice filly, and she is better on the turf.
And in the Charlie Barley, I love the name, Inventing Blame. Last win was in an optional claimer with a lifetime best buyer figure. Tri-Stakes Company, but with that lifetime best buyer last time, is Inventing Blame kind of a horse on the improve?
He is on the improve. I'm not sure that he wants to really be backed up to a mile, but it's a straight 3-year-old race. Sure. And again, you know, his owner likes to run in stake races, and, you know, here's the opportunity to do it here. Might be a bit short for him, but, you know, he's going to have to tell us how good he is, you know.
Appreciate the time and the insights. Good luck this weekend.
You're very welcome.
Thanks to Roger Attfield, always very accommodating when we come up here. And as I say, a very familiar name to those of us who watch and wager on the Woodbine product. Rachel Halden, again, one of the players in the Queen's Plate this afternoon. She has the plate trial winner, Pay for Peace. And again, as you'll hear, she was pretty high on his effort in that last race. Looked at it as kind of a breakthrough. We'll see how that works out this afternoon in the Queen's Plate. Pay for Peace for trainer Rachel Halden.
Let's talk a little bit about Pay for Peace. Won the plate trial. It was a lifetime best buyer number, so it seemed like the horse maybe got the wake-up call and moved forward nicely.
Down the lane they come in the plate trial. Federal Law in front. On the outside, Pay for Peace ranging up. Moon Swings making ground. Kraken Wagon finishing on. And Rising Star from a long way back. But Pay for Peace has hit the front. And it is going to be Pay for Peace coming clear. Rising Star a good run here, but Pay for Peace is one. Pay for Peace wins the plate trial. Federal Law second.
What was your takeaway from the plate trial win?
It was just a very, very positive race all round. You know, we've obviously always believed in this horse. But, you know, we kept him eligible all winter, and the plate has sort of, you know, been something in the back of our minds. His first couple of races this year, they weren't quite what we were hoping for to kind of keep our Queen's Plate dream alive. But they weren't terrible either. He's just been a late developing physically and mentally type of horse, and each of his races this year they were better and better, and he just really came through and came round at the right time on plate day. And if he just steps forward from that to the Queen's Plate, you know, we deserve to be in there, and looking forward to it.
Was that kind of a breakthrough performance?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, like I say, it was what we were looking for to, you know, reignite our Queen's Plate dream, and you know, and here we are.
How's he been training in the morning?
Super. I mean, I'm just very happy with him. You know, from that race to going into this, you know, everything's fallen into place. We're just happy with how he's trained back, how he's acting, how he's doing, and you know, hopefully he's just an improving horse that's coming around at the right time.
All right, let's do another break. We're doing Racing Across North America live from Woodbine. Again, when we come back, we caught up with Sandy Hawley, Hall of Fame jockey, got some of his thoughts on the Queen's Plate. That'll come up a little bit later on. Stuart Simon has some horses in some of the stakes races coming up this afternoon as well. But we'll take a break, come back with all of that right after this. Stay tuned.
Where's the best place to find your favorite teams, your favorite food, daily drink specials, and wagering on live horse racing? Legends Field Sports Bar, 711 Central Avenue, Albany. Get your game on day or night with 75 flat-screen TVs, tournament-style pool tables, a private banquet room, and live horse racing. So if someone asks you, where's the best sports bar in the capital region? Tell them Legends Field Sports Bar, inside the Clubhouse Racebook, 711 Central Avenue, Albany.
What if there was a way to become a better horse player, to have a better knowledge of the game, to be more successful? What if there were a way to take what you've learned, what you know, and make better decisions, better choices? In horse racing, knowledge is a powerful tool. Race results and replays, past performances and live streaming, wagering from all your digital devices. Capital OTB. Become a better horse player.
You like free money? Well, Capital OTB gives its players plenty of opportunities to cash in. At Capital OTB, there are so many ways for horse players to receive bonus dollars by simply participating in promotions such as our bankrolls, bounty bets, online handicapping contests, and much, much more. Plus, with Capital OTB's Player Rewards program, you get actual cash back. So what are you waiting for? Log on today at CapitalOTB.com or CapitalOTBBet.com and claim your free money.
Birdstone is an outside front. They're coming down to the finish. Can Smarty Jones hold on? Here comes Birdstone. Birdstone surges past. Birdstone wins the Belmont Stakes. In front, but here comes High Chaparral. High Chaparral, the defending champ, to take it to Bob. These two arch rivals head to head with Joe Hart bearing down on them. It's going to be a three-horse photo finish in the turn. Here's the wire. Photo finish.
Welcome back to Racing Across America. As promised before the break, kind of an ambassador of racing up here at Woodbine, Sandy Hawley, retired jockey, Hall of Famer, Canadian Hall of Famer. He's won a Sovereign Award, Eclipse Award. Certainly a guy who, having won multiple Queen's Plates, a great guy to get an opinion from on the Queen's Plate this afternoon. We got that for today, but we also talked to Sandy quite a bit, so tomorrow we'll have more of that interview. It was a lot of fun, very interesting, appreciated him taking the time. But as I say, at the end of the interview, we also got from a guy who has won the race multiple times. Queen's Plate opinion up next from retired jockey Sandy Hawley.
Let's get an opinion on the Queen's Plate. You're a multiple winner over the years, strategies that played out well and whatnot, and how does that relate to this year's field?
You know what? There's a horse called AV's Flatter. He's been the Queen's Plate favorite all along, and you know, you kind of throw out his last race, and he won 3 in a row before that. I think he's going to love the distance. He's got the 14 post, so it's you know, a little far out there, but you have over a quarter of a mile before you get to that first turn, so he's going to have lots of room to get a position. And you know, horses have won from the 14 post before, so if I could ride any horse in a race, it'd be AV's Flatter.
Very good, Sandy. We appreciate the time.
My pleasure. Thank you.
And again, more with Sandy Hawley tomorrow. We just had more of a general conversation. It was kind of interesting, talking a little bit about his career and how he got into the game and whatnot. That's tomorrow on Racing Across America. Right now, one of the trainers we have talked to a number of times, we've come up here to Woodbine, Stuart Simon. He has some horses in the stakes this afternoon at Woodbine. Yorkton, a familiar name on the stakes scene up here at Woodbine, kind of has to rebound off a couple of subpar performances so far this season. And Rose's Vision, he's in the King Edward. That one won a stake, the Better Talk Now, down at Saratoga last summer. So folks down in our neck of the woods may remember Rose's Vision. He talks about both of those right now. Stuart Simon.
Here we go. Yorkton and the Highlander coming up on Saturday. A couple off the board finishes to start the season. A third start back, a lot of times that's the one where they rebound. You looking for a little rebound from Yorkton?
Yeah, I think he'll run well, that horse. He's just had a couple of things not go right, you know, in ways of trips and stuff, but hopefully we got everything set now.
Rose's Vision in the King Edward, and that one we saw up at Saratoga last year, won the Better Talk Now, comes off an off-the-board finish in the seasonal debut. But as I say, we saw a nice win up at Saratoga. What do you expect from Rose's Vision on Saturday?
Yeah, I think he'll rebound also with a good race. You know, he shipped over. It was a real hot weekend earlier when he went over there. And, you know, I just don't think he ran his best race and didn't get really the kind of trip he likes. So I think the outside hole will be good for that horse. He'll get a nice trip from there.
And he, you know, maybe is it too early, or Saratoga maybe back in that one's future again this summer?
Yeah, you never know. It's always nice to go there, and it's especially nice to win there. So.
All right, I've given you some thoughts on some of the stakes action this afternoon from the folks themselves out in the backstretch yesterday, getting some of the trainers to give ideas on their horses. Hopefully we gave you some good ideas, perhaps a little more of that coming up tomorrow as well, with stakes being run on Sunday afternoon also. But we're going to head to a break. When we come back, we will continue this Saturday Queen's Plate edition of Racing Across America. As I say, Racing Across North America, as it were, today, live on the paddock set here at Woodbine. So stay tuned. We'll be back in a couple more Racing Across America.
OTB is thrilled to be partners with Rivers. And now we're offering as a bonus a surcharge-free betting track odds here at Rivers Casino. The benefit to our bettors is that there is no surcharge. It's actually putting 5% more in their pockets. There's nothing to do. It's just make your bet, and when you cash it, you're 5% richer.
Where's the best place to find your favorite teams, your favorite food, daily drink specials, and wagering on live horse racing? Legends Field Sports Bar, 711 Central Avenue, Albany. Get your game on day or night with 75 flat-screen TVs, tournament-style pool tables, a private banquet room, and live horse racing. So if someone asks you, where's the best sports bar in the Capital Region? Tell them Legends Field Sports Bar, inside the Clubhouse Racebook, 711 Central Avenue, Albany.
Welcome back to Racing Across America. Again, we were on the backstretch yesterday, and really we're heading to our car to head out, and we were right by the training track. And who was there, and who was he watching work out? It was trainer Robert Tiller watching Pink Lloyd. And as he said, Pink Lloyd, a little bit of an attitude, so they kind of wait till the end of training hours when maybe there are fewer horses on the training track. So we took the opportunity to talk to Robert Tiller for a couple of minutes about Pink Lloyd. And if you're not familiar, a couple of years ago went undefeated, became the 2017 Horse of the Year up here in Canada. Had a pretty good season last year, but kind of faltered at the end of the season in a couple of races. However, came back good as new this year and is racing very well. Pink Lloyd, again, a solid performer up here at Woodbine for trainer Robert Tiller. So we talked a little Pink Lloyd and more. Had actually kind of a fun little few minutes with trainer Robert Tiller. That is up next.
All right, we're out by the training track, and lucky enough to spot Robert Tiller out here watching Pink Lloyd work out. You were talking about him going off the racetrack, and you say as he heads off the racetrack, he kind of puts the head down. He's got a little bit of an attitude after the workouts, it sounds like.
Well, actually, his attitude is during the gallop, and he's got a very calm attitude walking to the racetrack and coming home from the racetrack. But during the gallop, he's a very tough horse to gallop. So we gallop him just before this track closes down to make sure there aren't many horses out here.
And we're at the end of training hours, so he's pretty much out here alone, and that's the game plan then, to be out here and give him the training track by himself.
Yeah, that's true, but like yesterday we had turf training, so there was about 20 horses out here at 9:30, so that doesn't always work either, and that's when I'm holding on to my heart, because what happens when horses come up behind him, he just wants to go. And, we've got him down to the point now where he's very relaxed, and it's all going good.
Talk a little bit about Pink Lloyd and the career. Horse of the Year a couple of years ago up here in Canada. We watched the Woodbine races with our afternoon handicapping show and plug in the Pink Lloyd. And I always talk about stay tuned because coming up, he's coming back. And so far this year, rebounded nicely from a couple of subpar performances for him at the end of last year. But he's looked great so far this year.
They're coming, and Pink Lloyd swings right around the outside with every stride, joins in and goes after stablemate Circle of Friends and has hit the front just like that. And now it's a matter of how far. As Pink Lloyd made a winning move, 3 in front of Martin Lake, and then Circle of Friends. Pink Lloyd clear, Martin Lake getting home on the inside, but it's another one for Pink Lloyd, the Greenwood Stakes by a length.
What it's like to have a horse like that in the barn in his career so far?
Well, there'll never be another one like him, and as far as I'm concerned. He won 11 stakes in a row, and he's won 15 stakes here in Canada. He's won 18 races, and $1.3 million Canadian, and he's won his last 2 again. Coming off a bad bleed last fall, that's pretty amazing. And he's had his little issues, and we're being very proactive with him. We're trying to pick his spots, and he's just I don't even know Kawhi Leonard with the Toronto Raptors, but he just keeps coming back and back and back. So he's there's no words for this horse. To me, he's if it ends tomorrow, that's fine. He's 7 years old, and we've got a great home lined up for him. But he's still going strong. He acts like he still wants to do it. Like I said, he's won his last 2. He holds the track record here for 6 furlongs, and he's not a speed horse. He's a horse that'll run by horses. So when he's right, there's nobody going to beat him here.
And we were talking before we went on the air. You have a next spot plan for him.
Yes, the Vigil on the 14th of July.
And good luck there, certainly, and going on with Pink Lloyd. And before we let you go, as I say, we're watching the Woodbine races down in our studio down in Albany, New York, and see your name prominently in the program on racing days. Give our folks, our viewers, a little bit of a background. Robert Tiller, how'd you get into the game?
I'll tell you what happened. I left school at the age of 16 after I finished grade 8, and then I went to the University of Woodbine, and here I am. Here I am 54 years later.
Graduate degree.
I got it. I'm still holding on to it. Most people my age are in their rocking chair, but I've still got 44 horses over there, 10 months a year, so can't complain. It's a great game, a lot of stress, but I just block that all out now. Take one day at a time.
As I say, congratulations on a great year a couple of years ago with Pink Lloyd, and he's continuing it this year, and further success.
Thank you. Well, you know, when the party ends, it ends, but the party's still on.
Welcome back to Racing Across America. As promised earlier, joined now by John Siskos of Woodbine. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you, Seth?
Very good. And first, I want to just say thank you to you and the whole team. It's always fun to come up here. We come a couple times a year, and now we've been multiple years, and you always treat us very well up here. We're happy to be on the TV set just outside the paddock. That's been very accommodating. But again, to you and everybody at Woodbine, we really appreciate it.
We appreciate you coming up. We know it's a big day when you're here, and that's you know, you've dialed up the weather for us as well, and we expect a huge day. So you know, let's get everybody safe and cash a few tickets.
Yeah, and we talked on the handicapping show earlier, 3 pick 5s today, and I always say I do the handicapping show from the Albany studio most of the year. And I tout to people the Woodbine product with the 20-cent increment. You can jump in these pick plays and put together a nice-sized ticket for a very reasonable amount of money. And the other day I played one, and people think, oh, there's not a lot of value. I had a little pick 4 going during the handicapping show, and I kept people abreast of it. And I paid a couple $100 at the end, you know, for a 20-cent ticket that cost me about $19. And as I say, I had a little coverage in all the races.
Right. I think that's been valuable to us when we introduced this a few years ago. Is that player, that weekend warrior player that wants to spread in these pick 5 races and just can't afford the dollar base.
Yeah.
So they play the 20 centers and they realize they're not getting thousands, but they're getting their hundreds.
Yeah.
And people and the big players want to play dollar base, they can get their thousands. Yeah. So if you're thinking that 15-to-1 horse that absolutely nobody likes, it's a cheap horse to put in there. So we've seen lots of success.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun, no question about it. Let's talk a little bit about it. Yesterday, the ribbon cutting ceremony, and we had talked to you at the end of last year when we were up here for Woodbine Mile in anticipation of that new inner turf course. formerly was where the harness racing took place, but you made the decision a few years ago, and Jim Lawson talked about it yesterday, and we're going to have some of that on tomorrow's show. But the planning and what the thought process that went into it. But talk a little bit about that, the impetus of the switch over to that inner turf course. And as he said, you're looking to be kind of the turf destination in North America. The ribbon cutting ceremony yesterday, race number 1 on that inner turf. It's going to be a lot of fun, I think.
Yeah, I come from the thoroughbred world, and this turf course is meant to be a thoroughbred thing, and we're meant to be a turf destination, all those things that were relayed. Another key part of this is we have a harness division, a significant standardbred racing in Ontario. So that allowed us, by moving the harness track, or at least the harness division there, full-time out to Woodbine Mohawk Park, which is the fans might know as Mohawk, and they have their one destination for elite harness racing. And so that said, okay, we could put the turf course in here, have the harness racing out there, and have the single breed facilities for each division.
And I was doing the handicapping show. Usually I'm in the afternoon, but with the Foster at Churchill a couple of weeks ago, I was lucky enough to also be able to handicap a little Woodbine Mohawk, because they had the big night, the Pepsi Cup over there, which was some great stakes racing on the sulky side of things. So that's great racing over at Mohawk on the sulky side. But the new turf course, I was interested when Jim talked. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. They're two different turf in the makeup of the turf, which is going to make the handicapping a lot of fun.
Right, as you saw, the going stick yesterday was 13, and that makes it very firm turf. It just allows two different turf courses too, I think. I think that's the way it's going to shake out. Now, horse came from outside winning the race yesterday. So, and the jockeys that did the trial the other day had talked about, I think you need to be closer to the rail. Of course, the first trial race comes up, and they come 3 and 4 wide. So I think that's going to be the best part of the handicapping puzzle is realizing where you're going to have to be on this turf course, and it is going to be different than the Taylor course. It's going to be firmer. It drains so much differently than the EP Taylor course does. So I think the first few weeks will take some getting used to, but that's part of the handicapping puzzle. I think you need to be, despite yesterday's result, I think you probably have to be closer to the rail, I think, when it's all said and done.
And talk about the implementation of the turf course, because as I say, when we were here at Woodbine Mile, it was maybe half turf, 3/4 turf. There were still some bare spots there, and obviously that got in. And then this spring, you had to kind of wait for the roots to settle in and whatnot. Talk about the implementation.
Right. Well, the spring we had a rainy spring,
yeah.
So that didn't hurt. Got the roots down a little bit more, gave it a little more moisture. But it looks like it's so good to go. Isn't it so handsome?
It looks beautiful. Oh yeah.
And I remember '96 Breeders' Cup when we had the green spray paint on the harness track, and that looked so good. And now you see the real turf course, and we're going to run, Jim related to you already, but 5 and 6 turf races a day. God, what a tremendous feeling that might be for the handicapper.
Yeah.
And we're very excited about it, as you've been told by many on the ground.
Yeah, and it's just a known fact that people love turf races, big fields, big competitive fields, great betting events, and so the more turf, the better. And as I say, you guys are aiming to be a turf destination with the 2 turf courses. I think that's very likely going forward.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit, since the last time we've been here, you've essentially got a little bit of a new position, a little broader look at Ontario Racing. Fill us in there.
Right, Ontario Racing is an industry association. Simple as that. We have 15 tracks that includes Woodbine and Mohawk, and all the other sort of smaller standardbred tracks. So they put me in charge of some of those, put the portfolios within that group. Still a Woodbine division, but we want to make sure that the smaller tracks that you wouldn't have heard of, Dresden, Clinton, and so on, are getting support to deliver a good racing product and frankly wagering product, and we want to sort of expand that. And my colleague Klaus, who you know very well, is in charge of some of that stuff. So we want to, and we're, other things including stakeholder relations, and there's a government relations perspective too, marketing, communications, just some general management stuff that I'm really excited about.
Which is very important. We know on our side of the border
Yeah.
too, to have good relations between the racing industry and the government agencies that regulate it. That's always important to have open lines of communication. Let's get back to the Queen's Plate Day and what you expect. We talked earlier, I said to our folks in the Albany area, easy drive up here, you get on the thruway, bingo, bango, you're up here. Certainly make it up for the Queen's Plate some year because it's a big fun event. We can hear the sound check going with the concert for tonight. There was a concert last night, Queen's Plate weekend, a great weekend. But I also tell people, as I say, you guys, not just great hospitality to us, but it's a nice facility that folks would, if they haven't been here, would be recommended to come up, day trip, come up and enjoy a couple of days of racing, maybe stay overnight. But again, Queen's Plate is the big day.
Oh, it really is, and you can just feel the energy in the building, right? You can add the energy on the grounds, and we put a lot of effort into it. It is loud, the sound check, isn't it? And we have media in the place, all those sort of classic things that you see at the Kentucky Derby or all these other big racetracks.
We have the Canadian news right on the TV now.
That's right.
She's live. She must be right behind us.
Right over here. So she's talking about, and she's live too.
Yeah.
So that's how cool. Simply, things are, and in the end, we want to export the signal, get it out to the United States, and offer our product up because we are very excited about it. There's tons of turf racing today, and of course the Queen's Plate's a tremendous betting race, the effort that we put into it is second to none around here, and I think it shows with all these food trucks, all these accoutrements that often come with racing.
Yeah, as I say, you guys have treated us well, and certainly you can see the media up in the press box, and that certainly helps spread the word. And I know our customers have become more and more enamored with the Woodbine products. You're doing a great job. And now, let's get an opinion. I like Skywire. I think Mark Casse, I went back to last year's 3 Triple Crown races up here, and then he won 2 Triple Crown races down in the United States this season. So Skywire, to me, is a little bit interesting from Casse. We'll see how that plays out. But you have the plate trial winner. You have Avies Flatter in here as well. What direction do you think you're going to tilt in?
Seth, I swear to you, the only thing that's going to stop Skywire today is that everybody's on Skywire. Every sophisticated observer is on him, and there's you can just look at paper and see that he's live. He's got buyer figures that are there. He's got just some good form, and he's training like a machine. Everybody talks about how he sort of fits in the field, but you can just look at the morning works and realize that he's live. So I think he might end up being the favorite.
I think so too. We talked about that on the handicapping show. That was my opinion too.
Everybody's on him though. Everybody's like, who do you like? Oh, Skywire. It's like a shrug of the shoulders. He's going to be 5-2 in air. Now that said, there's horses to like in here. Like Avies Flatter is the class of the field. I don't think there's any question. And I don't think you can toss one bad boy either.
Yeah.
And the interesting thing about him is that they've been pointing the horse to the race the whole time. Here's a California-based horse that's been pointing for the Queen's Plate, and we've seen success when it's a very fundamental handicapping thing. If you have a trainer pointing for a race 3 and 4 months down the road, they're usually pretty good. Yeah. And so if he gets the distance, I think he's live too. My crazy horse, outside the top 3 favorites is probably Desert Ride. I think she's improving quite a bit. I love the Oaks was a terrific race. She's going to get the distance, and the Samson outfit has won many races before. Bayan has won an Oaks. He's won a couple of Oaks. He's won a Plate too. So there's no issues there. And she might be square at 10-1 or something like that. If she takes action, you come down to who doesn't take action. Right? Seriously, those 3.
Well, I'm now going to be interested to see Desert Ride because our man Mike Callahan likes it. We had Brian Spencer from Horse Player Now on earlier. He likes Desert Ride, so I'm wondering if that one is going to come down a few ticks.
Yeah, she's probably 3rd on the list of on horses that when you talk to observers, behind Skywire and Abby's Flatter. Desert Ride is next on the list. My guess is that they're looking for horses to try and beat the top 3, but she's live. No, she's good too. Crazy Long Shot.
I thought the Asmussen horse, Tone Broke, it was going to be a little bit interesting maybe.
But our morning line maker made him 6-1. I'm thinking.
I thought, and Brian Nadeau earlier thought he might come down. I think he might go up.
Oh, I mean, again, going back to what I just said, if there's 5 horses there, they can't all be 6-8-1, right? Somebody's going to take.
No, it's going to be a fun race.
So I don't know. He's a macho man as well liked as a long shot.
Testing,
Josie has
testing,
talked
1,
about
2,
her, and
3.
she's been public about it.
Yes, the
There's nothing
echo,
wrong with either of
remember.
those poly races. With some improvement, that would be 6 weeks since his last race. He could be live as a 20-1 type of
likely race, probably still some upside.
Right, he's probably to be heard from down the road. But I can't get past
remember that echo so loud.
Plus the filly.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. Good betting race as well. On a good betting card, lots of good stakes action.
You know it works.
Plenty of opportunities betting wise. So keep it in mind. Queen's Plate card this afternoon. John, appreciate the visit. And again, appreciate the hospitality from Woodbine.
Yeah. We really do appreciate you coming up, Seth. It's it really it may come off as joking, but truly it is an event when you're here.
Yeah,
and we do appreciate you coming up.
We do appreciate that as well. Stick tight for just a second. I'll wrap up the show and thank our sponsors, Woodbine. Woodbine, pick, bet, and cheer on great racing north of the border. Also, the Leah Auto Group, Leah Cars for Life. And don't forget, it is Woodbine Day at the Clubhouse Racebook today. First 50 folks through the door get a bet voucher, a giveaway item, and handicapping materials. That's all today at the Clubhouse Racebook, 711 Central Avenue in Albany. All right, racing across, again, parenthetically, North America, as it's normally racing across America, but we are live from Woodbine. We'll have some cut-ins this afternoon. Back for more live programming tomorrow morning at 8:30. Make sure to mark that on your calendar. We'll see you then. Good luck this afternoon.
You're watching OTB TV, a service of Capital Off Track Betting.